All right, good afternoon, everyone. The Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration will come to order. A quorum is present. I want to start first by introducing our staff here. Matt Gehring from Nonpartisan House Research is here. Cole Dressen is the GOP Committee Legislative Assistant. Casey Peterson is our GOP Committee Administrator. Gene Stewart is a DFL Committee Administrator, and Chelsea Axelson is here from GOP Research. I did want for us all to introduce ourselves as members and describe the district you represent. And I thought it was fun last year in the Commerce Committee. Chair Stevenson asked us to name the best restaurant in our district. So I will start. My name is Harry Niska. I represent the city of Ramsey and part of Andover and Anoka County. And the best restaurant in my favorite restaurant in my district is Margie's Kitchen and Cocktails in Andover. It's very good.
Elliot Engen, I represent District 36A, which is Lino Lakes, Centerville, Circle Pines, White Bear Township, and North Oaks. Want to make sure I get them all in. And then the best restaurant in the district is probably Trapper's Bar and Grill. It's right up the road, 2 blocks, so don't have to go far for some good food.
Rep. Selesnikar and I represent 3B on the North Shore, 2 harbors, Proctor, Hermantown, Rice Lake, Gary, New Duluth, and 14 townships. And that's a tough pick for me. I guess I would have to say Valentini's, an Italian restaurant in Hermantown.
I'm Terry Steer, District 22B, Lesueur County, a little bit of Scott County, and a little bit of Blue Earth County. If I picked my favorite restaurant, I fear as though I would have retaliation from the other restaurants. So can I abstain from this, Mr. Chair? Okay, if I have to pick, it would be the Little Dandy in Le Center.
I'm Representative Isaac Schultz. I represent House District 10B, which includes 5 counties in central Minnesota. I'm going to brag about the Red Rooster Bar and Grill in Genola, a city of 70 people, and there you can find the best horseradish pickle Bloody Mary in the state. So please visit.
State Representative Peggy Scott, and it's kind of a hard one for me because all of my district, it's very rural, but I'll just go with the Refuge Golf Course in Oak Grove.
Hi, I'm Representative Steve Jacob, District 20B, so Rochester, Winona area. And the Front Porch in Kellogg, Minnesota, the jumbo shrimp and Bloody Marys are just, you can't miss it. Got to go there.
I'm Representative Jim Nash. I represent District 48A, which is Central Carver County. And the greatest restaurant in my district is got to be Hoppers, where you can have the best burger in the entire state of Minnesota. Come on out. If you don't like it, I'll buy it. Within reason.
Jamie Long, represent Southwest Minneapolis, and we have a lot of really good restaurants. But my favorite is Colita, which is a Oaxacan Mexican restaurant that is 2 blocks from my house.
Hi, I'm Athena Hollins. I represent District 66B, which is the northern neighborhoods of St. Paul. And so my favorite restaurant is technically on the other side of the street from my district. No, are you kidding me? Okay. Then it's going to be Tongue in Cheek, which is right on Payne Avenue, and it has amazing cocktails and really creative appetizers that you can share, and I recommend everybody try it. And it's super close to the Capitol, so.
We're interested in that.
Oh, okay, yeah, so Brunson's Pub is the other one that's across the street from me and, or across the street from my district, and the owner says that it is my second office. When it gets warm, the patio is like, I'm there. If you need to find me, that's where I'll be.
Representative Erin Cagle, I represent District 39A, which is Fridley, Hilltop, Columbia Heights, and Spring Lake Park. Again, I have a ton of really good restaurants. I think I've said King's Thai before. I think we have the original Flame Burger in my district in Hilltop. And then my favorite place to go recently, my second office, has been the Clapping Monkey Coffee House. And it is the most amazing place if you want to get lost for a few hours. It's a coffee house and an antique store, so it's pretty awesome. Fridley, right by the Dairy Queen.
Hey there, Mike Howard. I represent District 51A, which is all of Richfield and a sliver of South Minneapolis. In Richfield, we have it's tough to pick just one, but wonderful Mexican restaurants. But I would pitch Lito's Burrito, which offers the best breakfast burrito in the state.
Hi, I'm Nathan Coulter. I represent District 51B, which is basically the eastern half of the city of Bloomington. So if you've ever been to the Mall of America, you've been to my district, and we're grateful for your contribution to our local economy. I would highly recommend Dosa South Indian Grill on 86th and Lindale. Incredible. My kids go nuts for the chicken tikka masala.
Hi, my name is Luke Frederick. I represent 18B, Mankato, Eagle Lake, and Skyline. If you're looking for some of the best pizza around, I would go to Polly Eyes. Otherwise, I think the most recent place I've been to that is top of my list would also be Nola Bell. They do a lot of local sourcing of ingredients too, which is some of my favorite part.
Hi there, I'm Christy Purcell, District 58A. So that's Northfield, half of New Prague, Lonsdale, Dundas, and 5 townships in southeastern Minnesota. This is really hard to pick. We have 4 local breweries. I have the half of New Prague with the brewery in it. But I would say maybe the Oli Store restaurant in Northfield. They do a lot of supporting local farmers and source their food locally, and they have a great mocktail menu.
Hi, my name is Sydney Jordan. I represent Northeast Minneapolis and Southeast Como as part of our restaurant, or as part of our scene in our community. We are an entertainment and arts district. So I represent 4 James Beard Award winning restaurants, 13 breweries, 4 distilleries, probably another one's open since I've been talking. But all that being said, those are very hard to get reservations, those places. My favorite is Maya Cuisine.
All right, thanks. I think I'm going to have to go back and rewatch this and take some notes. I appreciate all that. Well, today we'll be voting on the House policies and resolutions that allow us to get the House in order. There's our housekeeping items that we do every year or two in rules, and they have been nicely packaged by House Research this time in a single resolution, which is labeled 2005-P100. So I'll move the 2025 P100 resolution, but first I have an author's amendment, which is the A1 amendment. The A1 amendment offers members a little bit more flexibility in how they receive their postage and digital constituent communications allotment. And so I move the A1 amendment. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Oh.
I'll encourage our members to support it.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. Representative Long has the A2 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the A2 to reflect accurate titles in that section of the P100.
Thank you. Any discussion? I urge members to support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion prevails and the A2 amendment is adopted. Next, I'm going to ask Kelly Knight and Pete Squira to come to the table and explain the 2025-P100 resolution as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, for the record, my name is Pete Squira. I serve as the Controller and CFO of the House.
And Mr. Chair and members, my name is Kelly Knight. I'm the Director of HR for the House.
So, Mr. Chair, would you like to walk through each item of the resolution?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Chair and members, the first policy in your packet is the Service Award Program, and this is a standard policy and that we've had for many years. Do you want me just to, Mr. Chair, would you like me to continue? Okay. The next policy is policy on donated time. This allows our House staff to donate up to 40 hours to someone who has been out ill for 6 consecutive weeks. The next policy on page 3 is our comp time, non-exempt overtime, and time card policy. And this is a policy that has been in place before. And then on page 6 is the House remote work policy. And this policy allows staff to begin remote work beginning in June, and then return to work on December 1st, and outlines the provisions on how to do that.
Mr. Chair, on page 8, this begins the member business services. Payment of per diem of living expenditures during the interim. We have one change to this, that the interim is actually, we had an interim at the beginning of session because of the session starting a week later. So now interim is actually, there's an interim from January 6th to January 13th, and that's the only change to this policy. Next page, on page 9, line 6 is the leadership compensation policy. Statute allows for up to 5 members to receive 140% of a member's pay if they're in a leadership position. This is where the amendment occurred to reflect the positions in the amendment. On line 14, this is the expense reimbursement policy. This is quite extensive. It includes the lodging expenditures for members who live over 50 miles. It includes the round-trip mileage for members that live over 50 miles. It includes, and I'm just going to skip through here, it includes the district travel during the interim. You receive mileage for district travel. It includes the per diem amount on page 12, and that's down toward the bottom of lines 23 of $86, and those are attached to calendar days during the legislative session. And that's a summary of the expense policy. I don't believe I missed anything. On page 13, the personalized stationery allocation. This has allocation amounts for personalized stationery that members can order. We'll be going live, I think this week or maybe next week, with a portal that members will be able to order that personalized stationery. Beginning on line 22, this is the postage and digital constituent communications policy. This gives you a dollar amount of what members can pay on postage. And also on digital, I always have a hard time with that, digital constituent communications. This is where the percentages, we added 2 different areas with the amendment for, to get 70% digital communications and 30% postage and 100% of digital communications. Next on page 15 is a reimbursement for member communication expenses. Members can opt to receive $125 for their communication expenses during the biennial legislation session. You're up with the alcohol and drugs.
Hope I don't have it.
It's on page 16.
Oh, here it is. Members, on page 16, line 5 is, line 3 is the alcohol consumption. It prohibits alcohol being consumed in any house-controlled space in the Centennial Office Building. And the only change here is updating to the Centennial Office Building, assuming no one is consuming alcohol in the State Office Building right now. And then on line 5 is the drug use policy, and again, prohibiting from consuming any drugs in house-controlled spaces, with the exception of over-the-counter or as prescribed by a provider.
On line 9 is the legal fee provision, which allows the House to cover legal fees in the incident of a recount of an election or unfair campaign practices. And there's some provisions, it's the general policy of the committee to cover other expenses for legal fees. On line 20 on page 17, photographs and digital images. The House photographers take digital images of members, and members are, this sets a fee structure for the members to purchase those digital images. Skipping ahead to page 19 is the House chaplain. The House chaplain receives $35 per day for a visitor chaplain, and then an honorarium of $2,000. And then on line 6 is the high school page program. There's limits how much high school page program during the year they can have, and then caps the stipend, daily stipend for the high school pages at $15 a day. And then the undergraduate internship program, again, sets the maximum level of interns at 40 and provides them $125 per week for completing 6 hours. And that's the resolution.
Thank you. Any member discussion? Representative Long?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Squire, I just wanted to confirm for the legal fees section if there have been any changes to policies from previous sessions.
Mr. Chair and Representative Long, no, there are no changes to that.
Thank you.
Representative Hollins?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a quick question about the high school page program. How long has the stipend been $15 a day? Do you know by any chance?
Mr. Chair, Representative Hollins, last year it was $10. This year, it's proposal to pay them $15.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Purcell?
Thank you, Chair Niska. I have a question on page 9, the leadership compensation. There was another place where we changed the titles, but is this the place where it's not changed? And is that a thing that needs to happen?
Thank you. I will direct that question to Lead Long.
Thank you. Yes, that was the amendment that I offered before, was to change the titles on page 9.
Representative Jordan?
Mr. Chair, Representative, there are additional mentions of those outdated titles throughout the, I think on the previous page as well, so there might need to be another cleanup amendment going forward.
Mr. Chair, there is mention of those positions on the bottom of page 13 in the postage and digital constituent services.
And page 8.
Thank you. I would suggest that we take this up at our next meeting and circle back and clean that up.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I could offer an oral amendment to just make the switches that were in the written amendment A2 wherever they appear in the document, if that would be acceptable.
I'll ask Mr. Gehring if that is workable.
Mr. Chair, so there are several places throughout this packet that have references to titles like the minority leader, so I'd defer to your judgment on the amendment. You could certainly direct staff to make that change if you'd like as part of a motion from Representative Long.
That sounds good. We will interpret your motion as being directing staff to make those corrections in other places. Any discussion to that motion? Representative Purcell?
I'm sorry,
Okay. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion prevails. Now, Representative Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question for HR about the expense reimbursement. Historically, has it always been a 50-mile radius from the Capitol? And having discussions with other members who are close to that number, where does that number come from? And if you can sort of give some of the history behind it, I'd appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Representative Purcell, that's a number that is derived by IRS tax regulations. There's a tax shelter for members who live more than 50 miles from the Capitol. And I can't speak to how long it's been because I've only been here a year.
Representative Purcell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had heard that before, and then talking to other legislators in other states, I know like in Nevada is 35 miles because they have, takes a lot longer if they're going over mountain ranges. So I would just be curious if this is a changeable thing, or if it's possible that all members get reimbursement. Maybe it's, you know, a 4-mile mileage reimbursement, then they get $4 or whatever it is. And then it eliminates some of the difficulty of folks who might be right around that 50-mile. And just curious if that's a possibility to look into what other states do, and if indeed it's IRS or something else. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Purcell. Is there any other member discussion? Are there any members of the public who would like to testify? If not, I will renew my motion that the committee adopt the 2025-P100 resolution as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails and the resolution as amended is adopted. That concludes our agenda for today. The meeting is adjourned.